Hey, everybody, welcome on back. It's the Rubbin is Racing podcast with myself, Large, here in New York, and then out in the Windy City. We have three of my favorite people in the world, including Jacob Ames, who I can actually see his face. Jacob, if you're able to put that on the YouTube channel, I think everybody deserves to see that beard.
Yeah,
Then we
smile
got
pretty,
Spider.
Jacob.
Yeah. Spider at the ready as always. And Quiggs also at a secret location. Quiggs,
In the
former rocket
bunker.
science. Yep. This episode is brought to you by Body Armor Flash IV. Flash IV is packed with electrolytes, delivering faster, longer-lasting hydration without any artificial dyes, flavors, or sweeteners. So whether you're training, traveling, or just feeling the heat, this is for you. They don't mention it, but it's also very good when you're a 54-year-old guy who almost killed himself shoveling snow. So I got a little bit of this in me, and I felt much better. We actually got another 3 inches last night, by the way, which is crazy. Yeah. And he got 2. So work hard and hydrate hard with Body Armor Flash IV. Grab it at 7-Eleven, ask for it by name, and have yourself a good time. This is also brought to you by Game Time. The Game Time app gives fans the advantage with constant innovation. It's how you unlock amazing tickets and experiences in just a few taps. It's so simple to use. The Game Time guarantee means you get 100% authentic tickets. You get them on time. You get them at the best price, and there are no surprises. Fees are included in the price you see. What you see is what you pay, period. So if you find out that the Lady Hoosiers are coming to Rutgers and you're like, geez, I got to get there. I just went on Game Time app. You can be almost courtside for like $14. Thank you, Game Time. Sign me up. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets for every type of event with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code RUBBIN, R-U-B-B-I-N, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code RUBBIN, RUBBIN, for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today.
Large, I have a great idea for you. You're talking about shoveling snow.
Yeah.
I saw recently online on social media, like they have like these little like almost lawnmower snow blowers that are remote and like autonomous. Do you have, or maybe even remote controlled? I think that would be such a fun toy to play with.
Yeah,
like
like
you're just you're watching from your upstairs window in the heat, just like clearing your driveway remotely. That'd be awesome.
I thought I had it all figured out, Spider. When we had the bigger house, Annie and I downsized a couple of years ago. We had the bigger house. People had come by and did our snow for us. I'm just going to tell you that. That's what happened. So I've never had a snow blower. I do some small shoveling, but otherwise we had it done. Moved to the new house, and the kids were getting older. I was like, I'll never shovel again, right? I got kids. Like, that's what I raised them to do, shovel my fucking snow. But now that 2 of them are away in college, I'm right back to square one. So I'm actually in the market for a snowblower. I've never had one. I'm not very good with that shit.
I'll say it. I think as Northeasterners, we have a unique perspective on this. I know North Carolina has been hit with snow recently, but not like what we're familiar with. I don't think it's a shame to have someone else take care of your snow. When I was in college, I would pay my buddies that still lived in my hometown to go use their truck and clear my parents, because I was afraid, like, God forbid, I don't know. I don't want any risks.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a risky endeavor sometimes, especially with older folks out there in the cold, shoveling the snow. So, yeah, I think
if you can afford it, pay for anything you don't want to do.
Oh, absolutely.
Like I got when I moved to Chicago, got furniture, and it was like I'm spending like $3,000 for furniture, and it was like add $110 to get it all brought up and assembled for you, and it's like
delivery.
That's
a no-brainer.
Yeah, of course. I don't want to put all this together.
I just got a new bed, and they were like, would you like us to take the old mattress and box spring out? I was like, yeah, I don't know what else I do with the mattress.
Let me ask you this, Large. This is another question I feel like gauges your. I promise we'll talk racing in a minute, guys. Are you adamant that every mattress you sleep on or buy should have a box spring?
No, I mean, I've slept on platform beds before. I've never owned one. One of my kids sleeps on one because a lot of storage underneath.
Right.
But I will go one further, Spider. I've finally reached the age. This bed that we're having delivered today is a Cadillac, and it'll put you in full taco. It sits up and it does the whole thing. As a kid, I always wanted 2 things. I wanted a waterbed and I wanted a fucking van, like the one in the A-Team. I wanted with the Conan airbrushed on the side, the little ladder up the back, the mirror that's shaped like a half moon or something like that. Just a real and a waterbed. And I never got either of those. So now instead I'm going to buy a snow blower, and I have a Craftmatic adjustable.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Before we get too far into the racing, I do want to call out, I'm going to be interviewing Sheldon Creed here in just a couple minutes. So make sure you guys stick around for that. And yeah, we're pumped to have Sheldon on. Great week of racing between trucks, Xfinity, O'Reilly, and also the Cup Series. I'm prepared to call Atlanta one of the best tracks on the circuit. I don't know how hot of a take that is.
No, I think I was going to say the same thing. Yeah. I think I said last year, I was like, one more good weekend of racing, and I think I can say it's at least, I'll say it's my favorite track.
I would agree.
I guess best is up for, but it's always good racing.
I don't know if I'm prepared to say favorite, but I would definitely put it on my Mount Rushmore of NASCAR tracks currently, in terms of my favorite or most exciting tracks. We had a great time there last year, Large, and I think this year so far has delivered equal as much.
I was eating boiled peanuts and I had a seal. Took a picture with a couple of seals with tremendous fish breath. Yeah, I think Echo Park, right? We love Atlanta, but we refuse to call it by its name. Being in Hampton, Georgia, just outside of Atlanta, it's very easy to get to because you don't have to rely on just having the hotels in and around the track. You could stay in Atlanta proper, I guess you would call it, and then make your way to the track. So it's a good experience all the way around. I think we have a little bit of recency bias with how good. When they redid that track, a lot of people were like, this is the worst idea in the world. And everybody who said that was wrong.
Yeah.
It's very good, particularly for this car. And we just haven't seen Miami in such a long time, right? Because Miami front loaded last year. So we haven't seen Miami since the beginning of 2025. And we're not going to see them until the end of this season when they host the championship. And then we're going to get to see the new coat of paint and all the stuff they did with Miami. So I am just withholding my what's the best track in the Cup Series right now until we see what the racing's like in Miami Homestead. Is that fair to say? Because Atlanta deserves, like you're saying, Spider, you say so often people deserve their flowers. Atlanta does deserve flowers for the way that they've been racing on that track. But I'm going to hold off till I see.
Yeah, honestly, my one reservation with going all in on Atlanta is just the fact that it's not a NASCAR-owned track, if I'm correct. And I think that will kind of almost, I don't want to say, I think it pigeonholes itself where it will never be considered as a championship track. I don't know if I'm wrong or that's just my position. But, historically, it's been tracks that NASCAR themselves own, which is great. Don't get me wrong. I welcome Miami with open arms. All I'm saying is we experienced 3 great races this week, and I just want to call that out and appreciate that.
I think it's the ultimate second race of the season track.
Yeah.
In a way of if Daytona's awesome, you know that you're going to carry the momentum and have another awesome race. If Daytona didn't live up to it, you know that you're going to get something that delivers for people the next week.
There's also
sorry, Spider, you go.
There's also something to be said about the fact, like Quiggs is saying, piggybacking off similar style racing. You look at Daytona, and I had so many coworkers, whether they were at the track with us or not, reach out to me and say, hey, I'm rooting for Chase Elliott. I'm in a group chat, me, Quiggs, a couple other people, Nick Terraney, Jeff D. Lowe, all these guys. Liam Blutman has been big into NASCAR. Yeah. And I think there's something to be said about going from Daytona, a race where appeals to everyone. And then you follow it up with Atlanta, which is almost like the next best thing. I know, obviously, I'm missing Talladega, but you know what I mean? Like a small plate track, super speedway style race that's very similar to what we saw at Atlanta.
Moon.
Welcome, Moonhead. Yeah. Moonhead, we're calling Atlanta one of the best tracks. Do you think that's a hot take? Where do you stand on that?
No, absolutely. I was kind of anti what they were doing when they announced it and
he was the problem. He was that guy complaining.
Yeah,
I said everyone who complained was wrong. We never complained because we don't know what the fuck we're talking about. So we look like geniuses. Yeah. I said, do what you need in Atlanta. It was like 21 or something like that.
Yeah.
Do what you need, brother. We're cool with it. So we look like geniuses now, Spider, because we don't know what the fuck was going on. You know what I mean? Whereas Moonhead here is the part of the problem. The hot take though, Moonhead, is it the best on the calendar right now?
I mean, it's making a very strong case for itself because the track was coming apart. They were never going to recreate what Atlanta once was. So I think what they've done now, it's kind of balanced super speedway racing, but also throws handling into the equation. And whether it's what they actually intended or not, they've created something really cool.
Yeah. So you're saying they might have just got shit ass lucky. Let's talk about that. Quiggs, you brought up the point. If Daytona is not going to impress, and there's a host of reasons why, the fuel saving, we don't get the big one at the end that a lot of people want, or perhaps just the weather pushes it off to like Monday, Tuesday. We've seen that before at Daytona. Then you almost have a guarantee with Atlanta. But don't you think, particularly in this year where we're starting the chase and everyone's supposed to be a little less aggressive, to start off in 2 plate tracks, I don't feel like the standings, we're 2 weeks into the the season, going on 3rd week. I don't think the standings mean shit. Like, I'm very happy for what's going on with Zane Smith right now, but it's not real racing when you look at it as a percentage of what these guys are going to be doing during the season. So do you think it's unfair then to kind of stack them up? I wouldn't mind seeing Daytona, COTA, like at least put a little bit of a cushion in between them. Should they have done that, or does it not matter?
I mean, it's a long season, and I think that combo of races, I think, is just the best for, like what Spider was saying, is it's easy to convince somebody to watch the Daytona 500, and if somebody who's never really watched racing enjoys it, wants to see another race, like there's certain races you don't want to hit them with right away if they're like just getting into the sport. I think Atlanta will provide them something where you can be like, not every race is Daytona, like that sort of speed, that sort of strategy, but like ease them into something that is pretty similar, provides a little bit more strategy and a different look. And I mean, it is like recency bias, but like it's almost starting to not be, with how many times in a row Atlanta's given us a good race that like I think you can almost bank on a good follow-up that maybe it doesn't mean anything for the long term of the people at the top of the point standings right now are going to be there at the end of the year, but that it's so early that it doesn't matter anyway.
I almost think that's good though, because now we have an opportunity again to talk about guys that might not be in contention down the line. Like, I don't mean to kind of take a ricochet shot at guys like Zane Smith, but he's a guy that Daniel Suarez, 2 guys in the top 10 that, gun to my head right now, if you ask me, are they going to be top 10? Or are they going to be playoff drivers? The answer is probably going to be no, unfortunately, as much as I like both of those guys personally. My point is, I think, like Quig says, it gives an easy, digestible early schedule for new fans to watch, while simultaneously giving existing drivers the opportunity to overachieve at some tracks they may be able to provide good results on.
Yeah, I also want to say, I hope that this continues. I hope that Zane Smith was a hell of a driver when he came into Cup. He was highly touted. Remember, he had like that Trackhouse deal, and then all of a sudden SVG decided to step on his dreams as well. Yeah, so, I mean, he hasn't had a traditional road, and you can argue what type of equipment he's been in. So if that car's fast this year, Zane Smith, the playoff driver, why the fuck not, man? I awesome. Love it for that kid. And Absolutely. For now, people to understand, and that's to your point, Spider, I almost forgot he was a wheelman until I look at the NASCAR standings right now. It's Tyler Reddick up top very comfortably, then Bubba, then Chase Elliott, then Hurricane Hocevar, as Mike Joy kept calling him this week, Zane Smith, Logano, Daniel, to your point, Blaney, Keselowski, Buescher, and even like Gragson hanging around in the 12th spot, Ryan Preece in the 14th. And then Shane Van Gisbergen in the 16th going into a road course. If you're brand new to NASCAR this year and you saw all the pomp and circumstance that started on Friday in Daytona and went through Sunday, and then you have a champion who's as likable and as good of a story as Tyler Reddick, who then had the flu, and that adorable guy still came around New York. I believe he got me sick. Fuck him. And then you go into this and you have like another balls out great race where Tyler Reddick does something only 5 other guys had done. And then you're going into this weekend where the storyline is, the evil empire of Shane Van Gisbergen in my head, and the new kid Connor Zilic battling out on a road course for the first time. These are all reasons to really want to fucking tune in. So I don't know. I think, even though I said that it's probably not the right way to go about it, I'm riveted. By this whole thing. The trucks, they shortened the truck race. So with having the two races on Saturday, truck race on Fox, and then O'Reilly over on the CW, they had to make some concessions. So they said they're ending the truck race at 4:20, which is kind of giggly when you think about 4:20. But they never had a timer up there, which I think they probably could have used. But otherwise, I thought it was great racing. Fans had said they got ripped off of the last 10 laps. I totally get it, but that's the way it's got to be. We got to, that's the way that broadcasting goes. I just had a question. What was the deal with Hocevar at the end? Like, I almost got the chills of like me, the fat guy at the prom trying to dance next to the hot chick. Like, that's what I felt like with Hocevar and Kyle Busch. Did he go over and try and make a friend? Because that seemed very un-Hocevar-ish. He seems like a guy that comes to the track alone and then goes home alone. What was up with that? Does anyone have a fucking skinny on that?
I don't. I want to hear everyone else's position.
It also seems like the last thing Kyle Busch wants. Just the way
he doesn't want friends.
Kyle Busch has been talking lately and been I think he said it in this one where he's like, kids these days, like that's just how they're gonna race. It's like Hocevar is the epitome of NASCAR, like kids these days in Busch's mind, where it's like I don't know. Hocevar is kind of I guess recluse. Like he's almost like an extrovert, but has no friends. And then Busch is just the old man that
wants no friends.
On paper hates everything about.
Old man
Hocevar.
Yells at cloud meme. That's where
get the fuck off my lawn, Hurricane Hocevar. I'm there with him. I've circled the wagons.
I don't know.
Want any more friends.
Part of me feels like Kyle Busch almost sees a little bit of Carson Hocevar in him. Yeah. Like a young Kyle Busch that was kind of causing issues on the track and people were skeptical to get on he was a polarizing guy. Now I think he's a little bit more universally liked than maybe ever before, kind of like the Denny Hamlin stage in their career. Yeah. But there was a point in time where everyone hated Kyle Busch. That was a trendy thing to do. And I kind of feel like Hocevar is that guy too. Maybe he's quite literally putting his nose in places he shouldn't be and getting himself in trouble. And eventually, as Denny Hamlin said on Actions Detrimental, I heard that clip. I think it's obvious that Hocevar has the speed. I think it's about kind of refining his racecraft and polishing that skill set. And that's ultimately what will get him the win. I had him on my card this past week and I was pumped. I gave him out, I think 25-1, only to see on Sunday at noon he closed at 9-1. So DraftKings and I were in the same headspace. We both thought that Hocevar really could have had a great opportunity. If you listen to last week, I said he needs to hone his aggression and be selective and pick the right spots. Unfortunately, we were almost there, but I think he got a little bit ahead of his skis.
A little bit.
He got a little.
We need to get DraftKings to offer a line that's at some point in the final stage to be top 3.
Yeah,
and we could make a killing with that.
Was it a thirsty move on his part, Moonhead, to go over and say, "Hey, Kyle, can I share in your victory celebration?"
Yeah, he mentioned in his interview that it was like a company move. He just wanted the picture, but watching it live, it looked so awkward. It looked like he had big ideas that Busch wanted nothing to do with. Honestly, I thought they were going to try to do some sort of badass dual. We just whoop the field celebration, and then it just kind of turned into an awkward handshake and Hocevar getting out of there. So I don't know. It made for a cool picture though. So
it did. And I think if you're going to look at awkward trying to celebrate with the winner moves, that's not the worst one of the week because fucking Sam Mayer decides.
Yeah, I want to talk about O'Reilly rather. That race was crazy.
It's great fucking, and I'm telling you, listen, we primarily talk about Cup here, but man, you're missing some great races if you don't tune in on Fridays and Saturdays. Scott, talk to me about O'Reilly.
No, my takeaway watching the O'Reilly race, and I loved it. I was having a great time watching. I thought it arguably may be the most exciting race of the weekend. And I was just stunned watching that race. I couldn't believe, and I know, again, it's the O'Reilly Auto Parts, whatever, but I was stunned by the lack of willingness to work as teams in this race.
It's crazy.
I saw Jesse Love and Austin Hill almost eliminate each other from the race when they had two of the fastest cars in this race. There were a couple other instances I'm neglecting to call out in real time right now, but I was watching. I was like, why is no one working together? This is a plate track. These teammates seem, you know what it was? It was Corey Day. And again, I know I've been critical of him. I know he's a young kid. I need to pump the brakes a little bit, but at the same time, you have to be fair. This kid was responsible for taking out Justin Allgaier. I believe it was Sammy Smith as well. Moonhead, correct me if I'm wrong. 2 JRM teammates, maybe Raja Karuth even, in the wall. And I know he finished 4th. Credit where credit's due on the 4th place finish. But at what cost? The whole fucking internet came out with their pitchforks and was saying, fuck Corey Day. I can't imagine his teammates were happy that he kind of ruined their day. Again, good 4th place finish, but he's almost got a little bit of Hocevar in him as well. So, And again, he formerly was upset with us because we simply posted a video of a wreck that he was involved in.
We got plenty of them now.
Well, that's what I'm saying, Moonhead. I want him to be consistent with that energy, and I did not see that from him. I wanted him immediately following this race in the weeds, replying to all these memes, replying to all these people that actually posted something mean or critical about him. Yeah. We simply posted a wreck. I'm skeptical on my fandom for him. Like I said,
Spider will never forgive that moment.
I won't either, and I'm glad I've got a ride or die in Spider because it makes
Spider will always ride.
My thing with him too is like, not to go back and beat a dead horse on that thing, but we had literally posted him winning big sprint car events too up to that point, so it wasn't like we were a Corey Day hate account. Although it would be justified now, I think, because he's screwed a lot of our guys races up.
I think from this point forward, it's just going to be like, let the record reflect. So again, if you're listening, let the record reflect. Corey Day did indeed finish 4th at the cost of his entire team and several other competitors in the field.
Let's look at the positives, though. Ross Chastain finally did what nobody else had the balls to fucking do.
Yes.
And by the way, nobody talks up when by the way, I was on Wall Street. Nobody talks up their own book. Like you talk up your positions and stuff so people go along with you, like Austin Hill. He's like, you see the fucking save I did, though? And he's right, man. That guy fucking saved it.
Unbelievable.
Put it right back in line. But Chastain going in there and clearing him out. And, Chastain was getting bumped from high. I totally get the whole deal. And then Sheldon Creed comes off the schneid. And Sheldon Creed, I think I had seen, he has 139 P2 finishes. He has 15 P2 finishes. Yeah. That's a lot. Yeah. And so this kid fucking paid his dues, and he really deserved to have one go his way. And I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say with them. And as Spider mentioned before, we have Sheldon Creed coming up in just a couple of moments. So,
I'm
so that was good.
No, it's funny. Like I was saying, like this race was super selfish. It seemed like everyone was racing for their own interest, the Corey Days, the Austin Hills, the RCR cars of the world, etc. And then it became selflessness. You see Ross Chastain go after the bumper of Austin Hill, spin his ass out, and then not even win the race. Allowed my boy Sheldon Creed, who we've probably been out of those 15 place second finishes, I probably had him on my card for at least fucking 9 of them, Large. Right. So I couldn't be more thrilled. Unfortunately, I didn't have Sheldon on my card this week, but seeing him finally kind of reach the apex, I couldn't be more happy for our sweet king. And I really am pumped to have him on the show. I hope it means as much to you guys listening as it does for me.
Did we have him on before? Did we?
I don't think so. I think if my memory
like something with him at a track where we did like something like, hey,
exactly,
like that type of shit.
Every time I see him at the track, I go over and I say hello. And I don't know what he thinks that my role is at Barstool, but he previously asked me if I took the private jet to the racetrack.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I quickly had to be like, no, Sheldon, I had a middle seat.
I think when you interview him, like, I think a good question for him would be like if he thinks he's too nice of a guy. Because if you have 15 second place finishes, that means you've done a lot of making the decision that I'm not gonna ruin somebody's day to get this win. Like, I wonder if he thinks about that.
You know what? I just added that into my notes.
Yeah, add something about that.
But so like we saw the selflessness from Ross Chastain taking out the guy who we've seen win 100 times on these style tracks. And then we also see like, finally some teamwork. Sam Mayer tries to come over and give him a little knock on the door, like, congratulations, you got your first win. and then he cuts through the infield, hits the manhole cover. I don't know if it was the splitter that bottomed out. Something happened. He ended up wrecking the race car bad after the race was over. Like, unbelievable. So, like half a mile from just parking it back on the hauler, and the thing gets destroyed. I can't imagine they were thrilled about that.
A week after he had taken out Natalie Decker.
Yeah.
Which I shouldn't bring up anymore.
But
great. And by the way, we do criticize the broadcasts and stuff like that.
Thank you.
Adam Alexander was jumping out of his fucking seat for that call. I dug that. I mean, I don't know.
I'm glad you mentioned this, Large, because I wanted to call this out as well. I DM'd both Adam Alexander and Parker Kligerman following the race, and I was like, guys, you deserve the credit, all the credit in the world. And by the way, Large, again, it's so easy to be critical about the fact that these guys are off-site. I'm 99% sure that broadcast crew was calling the race from a North Carolina studio away from the track.
Yeah.
Complain about that all you want. I feel like NASCAR fans often look for shit to complain about.
Yeah.
I'm going to go the other way. Those guys were remote and delivered one of the best broadcasting calls I've heard since American Pharoah was finally the one and won the fucking Triple Crown.
Oh, shit.
They killed it. Parker Kligerman, awesome. Jamie Mack, awesome. Adam Alexander, awesome. I think all three of those guys should be prepared to get a phone call the second Mike Joy says, you know what, I'm done here.
I hear you. Yeah, I think it's rare that people do hand out flowers to broadcasters anymore, but those boys certainly did a great job. So, I mean, just great work all around this weekend in Atlanta, going into the Cup race where everyone's like 10 different winners in the last 10 plate tracks. There was a bunch of stuff going into this thing, and I was just fucking thrilled for Reddick. We'll get to how he got there, but him coming across finish line, missing his front right bumper, it was just awesome. And at one point, he got up on his roof to celebrate. And you have to understand, drivers are naturally smaller people because they get in there. I mean, to have somebody like Hocevar in the Cup Series, I think Blaney had said on DBC this week, he had approached Carson once to sort of give him the business. He's like, I couldn't because I felt like I was talking to my dad, because Carson Hocevar is like my size. But for the most part, drivers are little guys. So when Tyler Reddick jumped off his hood into his pit crew, who are all fucking massive guys, it really did look like an infant. Like, kind of jumping into the pool for the first time. You're like, come on, buddy. Come on. You know what I mean? Like somehow where they switch Za out, so they throw a fucking grape, and by the time it gets to Za, it's a fucking bowling ball. Like it was comical. But
and then followed up by running over to Michael Jordan and jumping up, and he looked even smaller. He was like holding on like
everybody is huge around this fucking guy when he's on the podium.
You don't get the full illusion until the pit crew runs across the infield and he's with Michael Jordan and they're all celebrating. Then he looks so small.
Because when he's hanging out in pit row next to maybe like Ty Gibbs or Kyle Larson, you don't see that dichotomy. But everybody who supports him and his owner is a fucking tree. Very nice to see Michael Jordan bounce back from those sexual assault allegations that people levied on him last week unnecessarily in Daytona. It was awesome seeing Jordan at the track.
For sure.
Continuity to it. Does he have to show up in Austin this week?
Honestly, I think he does. I'm prepared to add. I'm not going to tip my card, but I think there's a real chance that Tyler Reddick might three-peat. And for that reason, I think Michael Jordan might be in attendance. But like you said, Large, last week I was skeptical that this nonsense and narrative might prevent Jordan from being as active and visible at the track moving forward. I'm glad to see that wasn't the case. And good for Tyler Reddick, man.
It's easy when you've won every race this season, but this seems the most bought in Jordan's ever been to the sport. Like, I don't know if it's just the fact that he's getting more TV coverage because his driver keeps winning, but like he seems all in. He's been to the races so far, like, and the team, I don't think they're done winning. I think he might have a couple guys get some wins.
For sure. And Bubba's been knocking on the door too. Bubba easily could have won this race. It ended up being Reddick without a quarter panel. I do want to say though, like, to me, it's insane. I saw a tweet and I wish I could give proper credit. I forget, it's since scrolled past, but someone acknowledged the fact that like Michael Jordan is historically a dude that doesn't love doing extra media or more than that's required. And he doesn't necessarily love doing interviews. We've requested him, whether it be like kind of halfway joking or not on this show.
I requested him this week.
Yeah. My point is, he doesn't seem like a guy who needs to seek out the camera or even do extra media stuff. However, when you put the camera on him, and obviously, you know, it's been good circumstances following 2 wins recently, but he seems happier than ever when he's at the NASCAR track, giving these interviews, whether it be Jamie Little or following a win. Like, that is the peak happiness. And to see a guy who's made his bread and butter in a complete different sporting industry come and have this much fun in ours, again, I've said it time and time again, but we can't take that for granted.
It's great for the sport.
Yeah,
it is. It's 100.
Did you
even
see,
if you don't like them.
I wanted to ask you this. Someone allegedly said that Michael Jordan's involvement in the sport is not good for the sport.
Yeah.
And then there were rumors going around. There was a couple names mentioned as potential rumors. Now, again, I don't know the full context of this story. I'm not prepared to give any firm evidence on why it was these people. But in the poll, I want to say I saw Corey LaJoie and Larry Mack were 2 of the people allegedly that hypothetically might have said that Michael Jordan might not be good for the sport.
In what world?
Well, that's what I wanted to see with you guys. Is there even 1 ounce of
no?
Yeah, we're giving this one on the Spidey Scoop scale low.
F minus.
Yeah, we're gonna give this low. I think maybe last year you had the opportunity to say that because no one knew what was going to go on with the lawsuit. So people are saying that Michael Jordan is going to actually shut the doors on NASCAR. So I can understand maybe that sentiment back then, but otherwise, I mean, I saw more of the conspiracy theory. You know, part of the settlement from the lawsuit was NASCAR was going to let 23XI win the first 2 races. Like, you know, I'll ask you this question. NASCAR Cup Series racing is probably the toughest one to fix. If you did want to throw the Schneid in there a little bit, because how do you control that? Man, we're supposed to be less aggressive this year because we have the chase. Every driver came in and said that they were going to manage their aggression. And I know we're only 2 races in, but this second race, we had 14 DNFs, right? How do you fucking plan around a fix when people are fucking crashing all around you and all that shit? It's absolutely asinine and ludicrous. And I also think it's asinine and ludicrous to think that even I don't like Michael Jordan. I'm a Knicks fan. I was raised to not like Michael Jordan. He's awesome for the fucking sport. Him and his yellow eyes and whatever. He's awesome for the. I think throw a dig in there.
And I want to make it clear. I don't believe that Larry Mack or Corey LaJoie this opinion. Honestly, anyone who is of the opinion that Michael Jordan is not good for the sport probably needs to reassess.
Kick rocks.
Yeah.
Fox averaged 4.48 million viewers for Sunday's race. It's down 2% from last year, but part of that was the race had to compete against the Olympics closing ceremony. I don't know. We tend to make up excuses every week, but this one's like too close to call. Who gives a shit, right? Like everything. 92% of the people liked it on the Gluck poll. This is, I don't know, a happy. This is a happy podcast. This is a kinder, happy podcast. It's nice to have Sheldon on for this one. We're going back to court, though. You want to talk about that? Chris Gabehart is. I don't know how to judge this. So Chris Gabehart, as we all know, all this stuff came out this week, including his termination letter. And so maybe within the language of his employment agreement with Joe Gibbs Racing, there might have been a non-compete, an 18-month non-compete. I'd seen some of the language for it, so it looked like it would be anywhere from 9 to 18 months where he couldn't have another job. And he does have another job with Spire. He had a folder called Spire on his hard drive, and he had downloaded stuff from the Joe Gibbs main drive and sort of transferred it over. There's all this stuff about him potentially breaking his non-compete clause and distributing proprietary information from Joe Gibbs to Spire or whatever else. Joe Gibbs Racing looks like they're really going to go after him. They amended their complaint to kind of throw Spire in there as a defendant. There's all this stuff going on. We're going back to fucking court, and this one I'm kind of invested in. The last one, I didn't know what the fuck was going on. We were like, let's just see what happens. Nobody in this room is smart enough to understand it, and we're not going to go waiting outside of courthouses with Gluck and whatnot. This one, I think Gabehart has like 21 days to respond. I'm really curious on whether or not this guy got caught doing something shady. Because if Joe Gibbs Racing wasn't absolutely sure of wrongdoing, why the fuck are they doing this? Like, I you know what I mean?
I've done a whole seesaw on this, Large, because when the accusations came out, and I know no one's guilty until proven guilty in a court of law, of course. But like you said, the shit that Joe Gibbs Racing was saying in the press releases and the kind of language led you to believe it was pretty like cut and dry, and there was explicitly stolen kind of sensitive info, and there was literally a folder called Spire. Now I saw Chris Gabehart come out on Twitter and basically vehemently deny these allegations. He said he called them frivolous and retaliatory claims against him. And then Joe Gibbs responded even more by adding Spire to the lawsuit and getting a restraining order amended into this. And again, I don't know the first thing about legal proceedings, but it seems crazy because I was led to believe Joe Gibbs. Then I was convinced to believe that Chris Gabehart wouldn't be this dumb to do something like that, trackable. And now here I am again thinking like Joe Gibbs got him if they're really taking all these measures. So I don't know what to think. My biggest takeaway in all of this is I saw our boy Matt from Breakard, shout out Breakard blog. Him and Bob Pockris did a little insight on Chris Gabehart's compensation.
Yeah. I think he got 25,000 extra a race.
What do you guys think, Moonhead Quiggs? What do you think a guy like he is getting paid annually, just like without thinking too much about it?
I have no idea what the even range for salaries
I
are for that.
Either.
I don't know.
Yeah.
This says he made 1.5 million in 2025, according to Breakard blog. Total bonus of nearly 600,000, 575,000. If he's making 1.5 milli, what do we think like, and I'm not trying to take a shot at a guy. What do we think a guy like Cody Ware is taking home in a year? Like, actually, he might be a bad example because he seems like he's kind of already in a B2B style seat. And that might be kind of disrespectful to say. You know what I'm getting at. But if this guy's making 1.6 million, I would love to be a truck driver, man. Let me race in the
I've always kind of been like, I've never fully known the salaries and finance and stuff. So that's not public information? Is NASCAR the only sport where every other sport I can think of
it for years that
money is public?
It's crazy to me, like from a star power standpoint, that they don't say like, oh, Denny Hamlin signed a X amount of $1 million deal with Joe Gibbs or like, Chase Elliott. But I think when we saw like NASCAR go on the decline in like the mid 2000s, I think that they got away from that because
they wanted to hide it.
They kind of went down, and when you have NFL guys, getting these like literally some of them, I guess, announced hundreds of millions of dollar contracts now. When it's like, oh, we signed so and so for $750 million, it doesn't make you look as good. So I guess maybe
I don't think there's any other sport where the average salary has ever gone down.
We need to have Haley Deegan back on the show. She came on a couple of years ago and did a great job of breaking down the insights. And I know there's like, we have friends obviously that are drivers that would do everything to have better finances and the ability to race more. And I know it's not, like that's a bad example to just call this guy. I certainly don't mean to be pocket watching, but to go off of what Moonhead said and maybe why they're not as publicly, like announced and celebrated. It's really hard for you to be like demand more money or a bigger part of the TV deal when, these drivers, regardless of how good or bad they are, living on Lake Norman and millions of dollar fucking mansions and have, all these. And again, I'm not trying to pocket watch. Like these guys deserve it. They're doing something awesome that I enjoy a shit ton. It's a dangerous job. My point is Chris Gabehart making 1.6 million is crazy.
Period. I can tell you that his response that you had mentioned before, Spider, seems like he touches on everything that was mentioned by Joe Gibbs Racing and shoots it down. He's like, I shared confidence. I feel compelled to speak out today. I've already demonstrated to JGR, a third party forensic expert retained by JGR, examined my laptop, cell phone, and personal Google Drive and found no evidence to support the baseless allegations. We even offered JGR the opportunity to do a similar review of Spire's systems. JGR refused that offer and filed this spiteful lawsuit instead.
Yeah.
So, like, Chris Gabehart is playing the role that JGR is being petty. And if that is the case, then this is open and shut, a waste of our fucking time. But I'm hoping it gets a little bit sexier. It's in its infancy.
If that's the
within
case,
the next 3 weeks, we'll have more. We'll have more info.
If that's the case, God forbid, who knows what Chris Gabehart's going to pull in 2026. I would love to see his tax return, maybe 10.6 million.
Whoa, you think Spire's throwing him the $2 million?
Well, I'm saying if he's got libel and retaliatory frivolous lawsuits, you know what I'm saying? That's another bag.
Yeah. All right. So I think, by the way, I'd seen today in a headline that Cracker Barrel is back. All the SMS tracks, the 15 races that they have locations around, they're going to be doing activations and stuff. Cracker Barrel, I don't know if you remember, but 2 years ago, Cracker Barrel was in some trouble. They did the rebrand and they kind of went woke and all that shit. And now they're like, hell yeah, NASCAR, let's get back to chicken fried steak and that little fucking triangle thing where you're moving the golf tees. Let's get back to basics here, bitch. And I'm loving it. So go and support your local Cracker Barrel.
Hey, real quick before I forget, we were talking last week, Large. You asked us for potential nicknames for my boy Connor Zilic.
Oh, repping the
I don't know if you caught what happened in Sunday's race, but I think we have a lasting nickname for Connor Zilic.
Purple.
Joey Logano got on the radio and was like, these Trackhouse cars are going crazy. He's like, SVG and the purple one, talking about Connor Zilic. And it seemed to get a big pop on Twitter. People seem to love that. So I think the purple one might be here to stay for Connor Zilic.
The purple one is a tough nickname.
I kind of like it. It beats the $1 zillion baby, and it only took a week. So
yeah, I kind of like the Fall Guy still, but
Fall Guy's good.
Yeah, the purple one, I don't know. I think somewhere along the line, I've called my cock the purple one. We're about to go 3 wide with Sheldon Creed. Speaking of cocks, this is brought to you by Blue Chew. Fellas, you already know what time it is. It's time to level up, and Blue Chew just dropped something crazy. I'm talking next level championship belt gold-plated energy. Blue Chew Gold is the newest innovation from the #1 chewable ED brand. This ain't your grandpa's little blue pill. This is the 4-in-1 beast that's setting the gold standard for performance. We're talking 2 ingredients for blood flow to keep that rocket pumping, mixed with apomorphine and oxytocin to turn up the arousal and connection in your brain and body. Blue Chew Gold dissolves under your tongue and works in as little as 15 minutes. That means you can get it on quicker and stay in the game longer. Elevation without hesitation. This is peak passion and peak performance in one single tablet. If your bed could talk after this, it'd be asking for a break. Make life easier by getting harder and discover your options at bluechew.com. And we've got a special deal for our listeners. Get 10% off your first month of Blue Chew Gold with the code Rubbin. That's promo code Rubbin. Visit bluechew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring this podcast. Without further ado, here's my man Spider and Sheldon Creed.
Pumped to be joined alongside Sheldon Creed, the newest winner of the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. Sheldon, how we doing?
We're doing a lot better. Doing good.
Well, pumped to see you finally finish first. I mean, we saw, I think, a series record 15 second place finishes out of you in your career. I know Large and I, my co-host Large, have been pulling you for eternity, it feels like. To see you finally break through this weekend was awesome. What was it like experiencing that firsthand? I can only imagine you worked super hard for this. What was it like?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, awesome is a good word for it. But, 137 starts winless and now, 138 start a winner. So way too long coming from trucks and, winning a championship and winning 8 races in a couple years to not winning at all. For a few years was not really that fun, especially like when you're working hard at it and, you're bouncing around a couple different teams, 3 to be exact. Yeah, to finally win and to win this early in the season at a track that I probably didn't expect myself to kind of pop one off at. yeah, just all of it was awesome, and we celebrated and had a good time.
Yeah, it certainly was awesome to watch. As I said, we've been rooting for you for a while, so that was a great moment. Following the win, and I guess right before the win, Ross Chastain got to Austin Hill. Do you think this race ends differently had that move not happened? Do you owe Ross Chastain like a fruit basket? I also know you're good buddies with Austin Hill, so where do you stand in all of this?
Yeah, I mean, I try to get along with pretty much everyone, but yeah, I didn't really know what Ross was going to do, but I knew where I seen him back up to me off a turn 2 there. And yeah, my kind of only option of having maybe a little bit of a percentage of winning was just to push him as hard as I could and kind of hope they went up the track, kind of what I thought they were going to end up doing. And if I could sneak by him or maybe beat one of them to the line was kind of my idea. But yeah, then Austin got a little bit far out there, and then obviously I got Ross a huge run down the backstretch, and I thought really his only option was to kind of jump to the bottom, and Austin was kind of quick to block, and yeah, the seas parted.
Yeah, it was certainly an exciting finish. I would say maybe better race than Sunday's race personally. A very exciting race. I saw post race. Obviously, people were very excited. We had some internally people here at Barstool, including Pardon My Take producer Memes. This guy looks exactly like you, Sheldon. I give him all the cards I pull of Sheldon Creed. I say, this is your doppelganger. He congratulated you on Twitter. I also saw Austin Hill congratulated you by way of Instagram collage. I know you're good friends with him. Were there anyone like come out of the woodwork that was a surprising text message you received or congratulatory response that you didn't expect?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really keep social media on my phone.
That must have been why you didn't reply. I DM'd you following the win, but
Yeah,
I'm going to pretend like you
no,
saw it.
I didn't see any of those, but yeah, I got a lot of cool texts. Jimmy Johnson was one of them. We're from the same town, so that was really cool. And yeah, just a bunch of friends and family and a bunch of numbers that I don't know, and
Yeah.
and they didn't say who it was. But yeah, it was cool after not winning for that many years, and to finally get one and remember what that felt like was awesome.
Yeah, definitely a classy touch. I mean, Austin Hill gets a lot of nonsense from the media, but I do think you can give him his flowers, him coming over, congratulating you, the post, classy move from him. But one thing that stuck with me post race, the interview that when they interviewed you, it sounded like, I don't mean this like, I'm not meaning this critically, but you sounded like the most defeated guy to win a race. Like, do you think we can build on this aggression and it will continue? Like maybe we've turned a corner. This was just getting the monkey off the back, and now Sheldon Creed is here to stay and winning in victory lane.
Yeah, I mean, well, first I didn't have a voice because I was like screaming when we won, and then yeah, I went to go talk when Dylan Welch came down there, and I was like, oh, my voice is gone. And then I was trying not to cry. So yeah, that's kind of where it ended up. But yeah, I mean, speaking of Austin, that was super cool that he came to Victory Lane. He actually brought a cooler. Like he brought a cooler full of beer and dropped it off at Victory Lane. And then he came over to the house when we all got home. And yeah, we were good friends when we were teammates. And then obviously we had our little fling, and then yeah, we're good friends again now. But yeah, I guess nobody sees him behind the scenes.
Yeah. No, I thought that was really classy move from him. And again, I've heard it all regarding him, and to see a different light of him was great. So
Yeah,
it was really cool to see the full circle. I mean, like you said, teammates, and now beating him for the win, and then him congratulating you. Really, really cool.
Yeah.
You mentioned two things that stuck with me before in this interview. You said you try to be cool with everyone, which I find very interesting because we've heard from other drivers, maybe like Carson Hocevar, for example, who will go on post-race interview and say, I don't come to the track to make friends. My friends come to the track to watch me race, or something like that. How important is it keeping kind of everyone on good terms in the garage?
I mean, I wouldn't say that I like go out of my way. I just joke around with everyone. Like, Noah, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying me and Noah are like the same, because we're not. We're different, but yeah, I just mess with everybody, and if someone does something stupid or something that I think's dumb, I just tell them in my, joking way, but I'm serious. And then, yeah, if I'm in the wrong, I'll tell them that
Yeah.
I was in the wrong. But yeah, I don't know. I just never.
Accountability. That goes a long way. That goes a long way. A lot of drivers refuse to take guilt or any fault for anything ever. So yeah, I feel like that will do a number in the garage. The last thing I got for you though, I'm curious. You said previously you wouldn't have expected you to have success or even your first win to come at a track like Atlanta. So follow up, where would you expect a track? What are some tracks where Sheldon Creed is going to be dominant on, or where I can expect you to be running up front or super competitive for a win?
Yeah, I mean, I think like everybody has their good tracks. I think for me, it would be a Darlington, Homestead, Bristol, Kansas, probably places like that is kind of where I feel like I've run the best and how I feel the best, no matter like how my car drives. Obviously, you can be fast anywhere if the car drives pretty good, but yeah, I just feel like I've gone to all those different places with good cars and bad cars, and just had success a lot of different times at all those. So those are my favorites, and
Awesome.
yeah, had those circled. I don't know. I think the speedway stuff's so hard. Like
Yeah.
the whole
It's
race
so
has
fun
to
to
be
watch, but
right.
that looks impossible.
You got to be towards the front. It's got to go your way. Like we could go reline up that last restart exactly how we all did after watching it, and I promise you, like the top 10 guys, we all make different decisions.
Yeah.
It ends differently, and yeah, that's what makes it so hard.
So one question, I know I said that my last question was my last question, but I do have one more. I usually ask each of our guests if they could add a track and remove a track from the calendar, what they would choose. So I want to give you that opportunity as well.
If I could add a track and remove a track,
Yeah, like for example, like the trucks are racing this weekend in St. Pete, and I'm like, damn, dude, that sounds awesome. I would love for the Cup Series, maybe O'Reilly to get there themselves. Is there anything like that comes to mind? Even if it's not like a destination, maybe like St. Pete, maybe just like a cool actual track that you have long wanted to race on.
yeah, I mean, yeah, like you said, that's a cool one. I got to race a stadium truck there once, St.
Oh,
Pete, a
nice.
couple times actually. That one's gonna be fun to watch this week. I think if I could add one, man, um, anywhere in the country or anywhere in the world.
Anywhere in the world. Let's go crazy.
Wow, yeah, I don't know, maybe like Red Bull Rink or Abu Dhabi or
Okay. I'm down to get my passport ready. That'd be fun.
road course, something, yeah, out of the box that we haven't done. Or I would take Fontana back any day of the week.
Oh yeah, that place was
That
awesome.
one's gone. But then if I'm gonna take one away, I'm gonna take away one of the super speedways because we do 6 now a year.
Yeah.
Or I don't have a track that I hate. Maybe Portland.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. A lot of the guys say they would prefer to take away a road course, and it sounds like you would maybe be open to adding one if it were the right one.
Yeah.
Losing the super speedway.
The problem with Portland is the fans are actually great up there.
Yeah.
In that part of the country. Yeah, I wish we had like an oval up that way in the country, just that northwestern part, but yeah, we just don't. That's a good question though. You could add so many racetracks to our schedule. It would be really cool.
Yeah.
I feel like taken away.
I keep thinking of more questions to ask you. So NASCAR previously
I got time.
NASCAR previously ran a couple dirt races. Bristol, one of the tracks you mentioned, is your favorite. How do you compare? Like, would you feel about dirt racing versus the normal layout there? And do you think that's something that you would prefer driving on?
No, the dirt with our cars is horrible.
Yeah.
It's not like a dirt race because they have to start it weird. It's super smooth and dry, and they're like watering it as we race. Like, I think if they wanted a dirt race to be real, you would have to build like a dirt car. Like, here's the rules. You have to use the next gen car or the advanced or O'Reilly's Auto Parts car, right? And here's the rule changes, but it's going to be a dirt car, right? I think you have to do it that way, which doesn't make sense because all the teams are going to pour so much money into it. Or go do like something what they used to do, and like everyone goes and gets a Longhorn, late model. We all race dirt that way, but I just don't think it works.
It might be cool for something like an all-star exhibition style race. I don't know. Maybe not all-star is the right. I don't know.
If they could take the radiators and put the radiators in the back of the car and then run no windshield, and then really maybe not change the rules of the rest of the car, just so the track can start super wet and then it can get rough. We can build a cushion, like the things that dirt tracks do throughout races. Yeah. And not Bristol.
Not Bristol. Yeah, I agree. Normal Bristol's fine enough. We don't need to make it put lipstick on it.
Bristol's great. Eldora was the best.
Eldora
was awesome.
Yeah, I think if they're going to do dirt, they should maybe go to a traditional dirt track, right?
Yeah, you got to go somewhere like that, like Eldora, maybe like I-55, somewhere high banked like that, but has really good dirt. The dirt's really important.
Yeah. So, and last thing, we're going to COTA this weekend. What can we expect specifically from Sheldon Creed and then from a general lens of the entire weekend?
Yeah, I mean, going to try, and I think I got a lot more confidence now. So obviously going to try to put together another great weekend. I got some Cup guys running. Got Zilly coming back. Got SVG and the JRM cars. I think Chastain's running that 32 again. So, yeah, a lot of good guys. COTA is always really fun. Kind of wish we ran the big way, or like the big track layout. I don't know if I like the smaller one as much. Might be better for like the fans and stuff because like caution laps and all that's not as long. But yeah, cool place, awesome racetrack, great venue, great fans. I think everyone likes Texas, right? Texas just cool to go visit, and yeah, I'll try to get us a road course win. My second truck win was a road course, so maybe
let's go back to back, right? You go Reddick mode.
That'd be incredible.
That would be awesome. Well, thanks so much to Sheldon Creed, the O'Reilly Auto Parts newest winner. Sheldon, we appreciate you giving us some time today. We continue to pull for you. We hope you find victory lane again this weekend at Circuit of the Americas. Continued success, and thank you so much for giving us some time.
Thank you. Appreciate it, man.
All right, so we're back. Spider, I think you'll agree we can have Sheldon Creed back anytime we want.
I would love to. Anytime Sheldon wins, he's welcome to come on. I'm tired of him finishing P2.
Only when he wins? Is that what you're saying, Spider?
I said whenever he wins, he's welcome to come on. But I think Quiggs is right, man. He's too nice, and that's evidenced by that interview. So hopefully we can get Sheldon to fucking turn up the aggression a little bit, drive a little bit more like some of these savages.
We tape on Wednesday. We drop on Thursday mornings this season, and I had seen Bubba Wallace had said he was going to throw $15,000 at a kid so he can get, who is that kid? Brad Perez?
Brad Perez. Yeah, I love Brad Perez. He recently came to our Chicago office last year, and Moonhead, why don't you just speak a little bit more about Brad? But he's a great kid. He's easy to root for.
I mean, we honestly, like, you'd literally need like a whole episode to tell his full story because he's got a cool. Yeah, but he's from the Miami area, didn't come from a racing family or background, but took an interest in it young, and just he's a super, super hard worker and made a lot of cool shit happen for himself. And now we get to see him in the Xfinity Series from time to time, and his hard work, I think, is kind of something a lot of the garage sees. That's why Bubba and some of the others are willing to step up to the plate like this, because he's worked as, an interior guy, tire specialist, mechanic, gone over the wall, driven cars, raced, a wide variety of things. And like on top of that, he's like oddly talented in a lot of different like musical things and stuff as well. So yeah, he's just a cool guy. He's a good friend of mine, but he's really about anybody who has involvement in the Xfinity Series is going to at least know Brad. And you never really hear anybody with bad things to say about Brad Perez. So what Bubba and some of the guys are kind of stepping up to do here looks pretty cool. And I think we need more of that. We were talking about the big pay side of things a little bit ago with the Gabehart thing.
Exactly.
But you got the guys like Brad Perez who literally has, multiple day jobs, whether it's working in the shop or being a driving instructor for, I think it's BMW. So story like that, it's pretty damn cool to me.
I completely agree. I like that it's kind of like the ice bucket challenge method where Bubba pledged $15K and then tagged some other guys and said, you know what, where are you at? Put your money where your mouth is. And I like that you called out Moonhead before. I was saying how easy it is to be rich and kind of taking a shot at Chris Gabehart. There are plenty of drivers, like I said, that work normal jobs, that have to grind, that are taking calls, whether it be Josh Bilicki, Brad Perez, that work 24/7 to sell themselves, get sponsorship on their cars. So those are guys that I find it easy to root for. First generation drivers that did it their own way. Brad Perez is a perfect example of that. I don't know. I think there should be like a crowdsourcing, like a GoFundMe for this, and we should maybe put together
a slippery slope. It's like, man, this speaks to, I think, Brad's talent and all that stuff. Because when Bubba does this, a lot of people are like, what's 15 grand to a guy like Bubba? Come on. And like him calling out other people to do it, I think is very effective, particularly with his personality, Bubba's personality, because he'll bust Ryan Blaney's balls for not throwing some dough at this. He'll bust whoever else's balls for not doing. But sometimes there's always every week there's another Brad trying to get behind the wheel of a car, and there's only so many 15,000s that people are gonna want to kind of throw behind them before they're like, we might as well start our own fucking racing team, you know. So I think if this is a one-off, I would kind of understand it because it is a slippery slope. But again, I'm very, very glad to see the guys who have made it to the height of this sport not forget about dudes like Brad and try to get them the opportunity to also make it to the same heights, perhaps. Go ahead, Spider.
Should Chris Gabehart have been tagged in Bubba's tweet?
Oh, that would have blew up the world, right? Why not throw fucking Hurricane Hocevar in there too? Try to extract some money from the guy who's going to go exactly like Dale Earnhardt. We didn't speak about that. The Ride the Dente is what they're going black for Ride the Dente. It's a cool, and they also added some chili vines too. Did you see that?
I didn't think the Ride the Dente paint scheme could have gotten any better from what we saw last year, and I think they might have done it. The all black, the Intimidator. They're calling it the Intimidente.
I think it's an abomination.
Really?
No, Quiggs hates it. I could almost. I should have guessed that.
I think it's going to become. I think it'll turn iconic. The second he gets win one in that Chili's car, that thing. Forget it. We're going to be on top of the world.
You got a lot of people who disagree with you here, Spider. I'm going to take your side and say that history will prove that this is a cool paint scheme. But I'll go to you first, Quiggs, because you had voiced your displeasure with it. Is this fucking awful?
I mean, if you're going like paint scheme, like, I don't know, colors are cool, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's more not everybody gets to rep that paint scheme. And like, maybe no one should. Maybe there's a couple people that like, maybe Earnhardt Jr. Like, I don't know. You can't just
not him. Not now.
I gotta stop, Quiggs. I gotta stop you right there, dog. We got Austin Dillon driving the fucking 3-car. If they didn't retire the number, I don't want to hear about. Oh, he's driving a car the same color. Fuck out of here. This chili scheme is hot.
This is a heated exchange, and I like it.
It's Hocevar running it at COTA. Like, there's nothing behind it other than like, and like I get it. Like you get like, I don't know, you get like a graphic designer to make a scheme and they like think NASCAR and they're like, oh, this like that. I think anybody that I think it's not like actually like, it's like kind of disrespectful.
Give it to me. Put him down. So Spider is now reeling a little bit. He's still throwing some jabs. Go ahead, Moonhead. Go ahead and deliver the knockout punch.
Yeah, I want to preface, but I'm a big triple dipper guy, and from a sheer paint scheme point of view, it looks good.
Okay.
That said, given, first of all, my first stance with it is we're freshly removed from all the lawsuit stuff where you had the owner of this now Dale Earnhardt replica car shitting on the guy who was Dale Earnhardt's right-hand man and played arguably one of the biggest, if not the biggest roles in Dale Earnhardt's career, and that's Richard Childress. That right there is my reason where the Austin Dillon and the three have come around on that, because of the family connection. Also, on top of that, the big thing everybody's forgetting about all of this is that Carson Hocevar's never won a cup race. And to me, if you want to be like the Dale cosplay, you have to have some wins under your belt. Not saying that's not going to happen, but to me, it seems a little disrespectful to be, the Jeff Dickerson on the team who just shit all over RC. Your Hocevar, who literally, other than to me, it's a little disrespectful to Dale Earnhardt as well, that the only reason we compare Carson Hocevar to Dale Earnhardt is because he tears a lot of shit up, and there was a lot more to Dale Earnhardt than just wrecking race cars. There was a lot of personality things, and I'm not even trying to sit here and shit on Carson, because I think, while I don't like him, I think he's great for the sport, but I think he's great to the sport because when he's uniquely himself, he shows a lot of personality. If we're going to take this nerdy kid and try to make him Dale Earnhardt, I mean, that's like trying to make Corey Day Jimmy Johnson or something. It's not going to happen. We've got to take
Corey Day catching another stray.
Really, I'm just saying, I'm trying to think.
I agree with Moonhead, and that there might be some and I didn't mean to take a ricochet shot at Austin Dillon. My point is, if you're not going to even retire the number that Earnhardt made iconic, I can't even entertain this conversation about a paint scheme that Chili's didn't even come out and be like, hey, we're going for a fucking, good wrench number 3 remake.
They said it. No, read the statement. He called it an intimidating. They knew what they were doing. It pissed me off. Luckily, if we'd have recorded yesterday, it would have been really bad. I would have probably be issuing a statement right now.
And I don't mean to besmirch the name of Dale Earnhardt either. Again, one of the goats, the legends of the fucking sport. I again am quick to compare anyone to him. But we also exist in a sport where people did it 3 years ago with Ross Chastain when he was going crazy, wrecking everyone. We did it. We're doing it now with Carson Hocevar. And I say we, again, I'm a little bit hesitant myself to go all in. I do like rooting for Carson Hocevar. Am I going to sit here and say he's the second coming of Dale Earnhardt? Absolutely not. But I'm also not going to clutch my pearls over a paint scheme. This is a sport that's done so many tribute paint schemes. Quiggs, do you get upset when we go to Darlington and all these guys with no connection to a paint scheme are saying?
Though. I think that's their point. If this was a throwback weekend, then it would make sense. Mm-hmm. Or if this was, and I think to Moonhead's point, if this was an accomplished driver and not somebody so young, it might make a little more sense. But this is Hocevar at COTA. Right? Yeah. You know what I mean? They're purposely trying to stand out in a crowd with a, cheap knockoff of the Intimidator. Which, listen, Spider, I tend to agree more with you because I don't respect anything. So I think, but I also see the point. I'm wondering how the merch sales are going to go, because I think they're going to go through the fucking roof, to be quite honest with you. So, honestly, I mean, no matter how people feel about this or whatever, I think this is going to be wildly successful, in a race that he's probably not going to be a contender in.
Yeah. I guess the last thing I'll say on this is I'm just kind of surprised by the panel's response to this.
The panel?
I saw it on Twitter and I was like, oh, this is cool. And I didn't expect anyone to be kind of upset. That was probably foolish of me being a NASCAR fan, knowing how things go. Yeah. But I guess I expected the boys to kind of be like, oh, that's sick. So I don't know. Interesting to hear where everyone stands. And like you, Large, I'm interested to see the merch response.
Yeah. All right, let's go to COTA. Actually, before COTA, the trucks are running in St. Petersburg street race down in Florida on Saturday. I'm pissed we're not going.
Yeah,
we were just talking to the guys at Ram, and we were thinking that maybe we can do something. So Spider and I were putting together some dates last night, and we were like, the date is actually this week. This would have been the fucking one to go to. But either way, so St. Petersburg street race Saturday starting at noon, coverage on Fox. This is sort of similar to what happened this past week, because then we have the O'Reilly Auto Parts that will be starting at 3 p.m. on Saturday. But in the trucks, we have former IndyCar champ, 52-year-old Dario Franchitti, starting in the number one Tricon Garage Toyota in his first NASCAR start since 2008. And 7-time NASCAR Cup Series champion Jimmy Johnson will be on top of the pit box for Dario. I think that's a cool little storyline. There's a host of people, names that you might not be familiar with in the truck race this week, but you won't get any overlap with O'Reilly or Cup because obviously they're in Florida and the rest of the series are in Austin. So Saturday, the O'Reilly Series has the Focus Health 250 starting at 3 p.m. coverage over on the CW. To make things even more unfair for drivers in that series, both Connor Zilic and SVG will be in the field on Saturday. That's not fucking fair. They're getting these reps. I know it's in a different car, but Jesus Christ, they'll be driving the 1 and 9 respectively for JR Motorsports. And Ross Chastain will be in the field, which is interesting, right? Because Austin Hill from last week, Austin Hill also probably not one of the favorites in this race. He could get a little bit of, bumper revenge on Ross Chastain if he decides to. And then, and also Austin Hill will be in the 21 for RCR as always. Austin J. Hill will also be in that race. He's a 19-year-old kid. He's wheeling the 35 for Joey Gase Motorsports. So we have Austin Hill and Austin J. Hill in the O'Reilly Auto Parts on Saturday. Be on the lookout for that. And then finally on Sunday, we're going to get the Duramax Grand Prix starting at 3:30 p.m. on Fox. Jesse Love will be in the 33 for RCR. Goodyear confirms it's going to use the same tire for COTA that it debuted there last year. I think that's a good thing. And since we're finally off of plate tracks, we'll finally get to see the increased horsepower. I know it's on a road course and whatnot, but we will get to see how these cars react to the new horsepower. So make sure you tune in all day Saturday and Sunday because we have a shitload of good racing coming up once again. With that, there's nothing less to do except to pick some winners. I hit on one of those group winners last week, so I'm probably going to go back to that. Well, do you guys, who wants to go first here?
I'd like to go last this week, if that's okay.
Okay, I think I found a glitch in the matrix. Oh, go ahead. Quigs, you want to go first?
I have some boring ones if we want to get mine out of the way.
Go ahead.
This is, the odds here are, it's 2 or 3 guys that have low odds, and then it jumps up, and I think they're tempting, but I don't think that's how you make money in this race. Right. I think I'm going solo, just my only pick being SVG plus 120, and it's boring, but that's how you do it. I think he might just dominate. Reddick's tempting, but it'd be great if he won. And then I have a little parlay. I got Zilic top 5, Allmendinger top 10, Buescher top 10 plus 708.
Okay.
Just have something a little more exciting to root for, and that's it.
I did have to throw. I'm going to go now. If that's cool.
I want to hear about this glitch you're talking about, Large.
So I'm going to grab Reddick because just to keep the good times going, I want to be part of it.
Outright?
Outright. I took him plus 1,500.
Okay.
I also took him on a top 10 finish, which doesn't pay too much, but I took him on a top 10 finish. I took a Group C, which I took AJ Allmendinger at plus 240. Outside of him in Group C is Kyle Busch, Ty Gibbs, and Michael McDowell. So I only need AJ Allmendinger to beat Kyle Busch, Ty Gibbs, and Michael McDowell, and it's paying plus 240. I kind of like that. I don't know how I'm going to win money. Oh, I took a Ross Chastain in a head-to-head even money with Kyle Busch also. I like the way Ross Chastain
is Ross has won here before, right? Did he win the inaugural race at COTA, if I remember correctly?
He may have, but I just like it. Ford has no shot. They're plus 1,000. There's only 3 manufacturers. Ford is plus 1,000 this week. That just seems like a chaos bet that I'd regret. If there's something was to go on and if Ford was to squeak a win, I want to be part of that. So I threw a little money on Ford at plus 1,000. Not the smartest bet, but I just thought that those odds were off. I couldn't find a way to really get I had another 3-pick parlay. I got Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, and Chris Buescher all in the top 10, and it's paying plus 750. Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, and Chris Buescher, top 10 plus 750. And then my SVG bet is I just don't know. I'm doing minus 120 that he's the top Chevrolet. I'm going to plow that.
Wow.
I think I'm going to plow that one. Is probably going to be my most aggressive bet because who does he have to beat out? Do you know what I mean? That's my first SVG bet that I think I've ever placed, and I like it. What else am I doing? That's it. So SVG minus 120 is the top Chevrolet. He's got to beat Connor, all the fucking Hendrick guys. Ross, Kyle, AJ, Michael McDowell, Alex Bowman. I'll take him at -120. So those are all my bets for this weekend. Moonhead, do you have any feelings that jump out at you?
You're on
Moonhead. I think you're muted. You were muted.
I have no idea how that happened. I really like Christopher Bell. Anytime we come to COTA, I have to sprinkle a little bit on him, and it's worked out before for me, and the top 10 good finish since. But I think that everybody focuses on SVG, everybody's focused on Zilish.
Yep.
But we've seen them in Xfinity get together. We've seen crazy shit happens. All it takes is one dive bomb move on a restart by one of them or somebody else, and the whole race is upside down. And Christopher Bell is somebody who could really emerge from the ashes and be the best in the next class of people in the race.
How great would it be to see Reddick make some history this week?
That would be awesome. Honestly, I think there's a very good chance that he does it. I wanted to go last because I didn't want to overlap with any of your guys' picks, but there were two that you guys gave out that I absolutely love. And one of them was Christopher Bell. I remember I go back every time we try to handicap a race. I just go back and I try to do like a That's So Raven kind of like throwback of what I remember about this track. And I remember Ross Chastain winning. I remember Christopher Bell and Kyle Busch getting together and Kyle Busch freaking out on Christopher Bell, asking him, "Have I ever wrecked you?" And Christopher Bell said no. And then Kyle said something like, "Okay, well, then I expect to be raced the same way." So my point is, Kyle Busch were there at the end. I love where your head's at with Kyle Busch, or with Christopher Bell, rather. Quigs, you gave out a pick. I think Large said Reddick. Reddick 15-1 every week. I'm tired of saying the odds should not be as high for Tyler Reddick. I don't know what more we need to see from this guy. Last week, even live betting, I was looking on DraftKings. Reddick missing a quarter panel was like 5-1 live. Bubba Wallace was the overwhelming favorite to win in real time. And I said to myself, there's no way Reddick does it again. Is there? Sure enough, he does it again. He's been nasty at this track. I saw a stat on Twitter that I want to call out from Racing Territory, at Racing Territory on Twitter. In 2021, Reddick finished here 9th. 22 finished 5th. 23 finished 1st. 24 finished 5th. 25 finished 3rd. Reddick has the history at this track. He has the momentum coming off 2 wins. I don't know. I think 15-1 for Reddick is a really, really good price. I saw a lot of people buzzing on Twitter last night about Reddick for a top 10 on DraftKings was -120. It currently is -150. But my point is, stay all over DraftKings. There's some really good odds. Last week we had Hocevar 25-1. He closed at 9-1. You could have had Reddick for a top 10 when he's the worst he's finished since 2021 has been 9th for -120. It's now -150. But keep an eye out on DraftKings. There's some really good stuff. Sorry, I'm burying the lead here, boys. My outright winner, if it's not abundantly clear, I projected this guy to maybe win 2 races this year. And it starts with 1 this week at Circuit of the Americas. I'm all over Connor Zilish. He's plus 350 on DraftKings. I agree. I think that there is a lot of concern, as Moonhead outlined, with SVGs and the Zilishes of the world. But at the same time, he's plus 350 as a rookie. This is his bread and butter. He's a road course ringer. I expect him to be highly competitive this year. And I know there's obviously a transition, adjustment, acclimation period. Connor Zilish is one of the best prospects in the sport for good reason. I expect him to be competitive this week, and he's probably going to be on my card a lot at these road course races. I'm taking him outright. The other only outright winner I have for this race is William Byron. He is currently 10-1. If you look on driveraverages.com since 2023, in their last 3 races here, Byron has finished within the top 5 all 3 races. In that time, he's led nearly 30% of all laps run at Circuit of the Americas. William Byron is a championship threat year after year, and I expect him to get in the win column early this season, potentially this week at COTA. I got him 10-1 to win at COTA. Outside of that, there are some intriguing top 10s. I called out Tyler Reddick. He's now -150. I'm not going to touch that unless it's in a parlay. I do like Kyle Busch plus 130 for a top 10. As I said previously, Kyle Busch certainly shows out at specific tracks. from years past, this has been one of them. Now, do I wish Auto Club was still on the circuit? Absolutely. But COTA is what we're going to have to settle for. Hopefully, Christopher Bell does not prevent Kyle Busch from getting a top 10 finish this week. I'm also looking at Ross Chastain, who's equal odds at plus 135. He's intriguing. And another guy I'm going to end with is Alex Bowman for a top 10 plus 145. He is fourth since 2023 on driver averages here with an average finish of 5.3. 3 races here, he's finished in the top 5 twice, with the only other race being a top 10 finish. So Bowman, a guy I historically don't have on my card. I like him for a top 10. Let's see. If I were to parlay those 3 picks together, Ross, Kyle Busch, Bowman, that's plus 1250 on a 3-leg parlay. I'm going to be all over that. Add that to my card, as well as Byron 10-1, Zilish plus 350. Those are my picks for this week.
Love it. All right. So thank you guys so much for tuning in again. Thank you, Body Armor Flash IV, providing us with the hydration and the support that we need. Enjoy all the festivities in St. Petersburg and COTA this weekend, and we'll see you guys next week on Rubbin is Racing.
Peace.